Well, good afternoon, everybody. Tonight for dinner, I'm going to make different pizzas. I usually do like a buffalo chicken and a cheese for the youngest granddaughter, and then pepperoni and stuff, but I'm making different pizzas tonight. But in this video, I'm going to make a meat lovers pizza. But first, let me show you how to make some pizza dough. Now, there's just so many out there with the rapid instant yeast to the active dry yeast and everything. You could use either or of those yeast. You just have to let it proof an extra 5 minutes, because it normally takes 5 minutes for your dry or your rapid instant yeast to proof. And if it's just your regular active dry yeast, give it another 5 minutes. So let it proof for like 10 minutes. You'll know when it's ready. You always want to add it into warm water, your yeast, okay, to activate it. And after it proofs, sits for like 10 minutes, then you'll know it's ready, because at the top of the surface it'll start frothing, bubbly like, okay? But I'm using what I have here, some instant yeast, so I'm only going to have to let it proof for like 5 minutes. And how to tell if your water, because you don't want it too hot, because if it's too hot you're going to kill the yeast, okay? And if it's not warm enough, it's not going to do its thing. So I just stick the tip of my finger in, and it feels nice and warm, then that's good. And then I've got 2 1/4 teaspoons of my Fleischmann's instant yeast in there, okay? I'm just going to stir this up, or you could whisk it up. You could even do it right in your stand mixer if you wanted to, okay? Give one less bowl to dirty. All right, and then we're also going to dump in some sugar, and I'm going to put in just 1 tablespoon, okay? All right, now time it 5 minutes. Let that do its thing, and in the meantime, you can get out 3 1/2 cups of flour. It might need a little speck more, it might need a little bit less, but once we get to that stage, I'll show you how you can tell, okay? And you're going to need a total of 4 tablespoons of olive oil. You can use virgin olive oil. I have this Filippo Berio olive oil. You're going to need a total of like 4 tablespoons. You want to separate it, okay? Divide it, 2 tablespoons and 2 tablespoons, because 2 tablespoons is going to end up going into our dough as we go along. And the other 2 tablespoons, once the dough is made, we're going to use that to cover our dough ball, our pizza dough ball, real well in the bowl and everything when we set it in our bowl so it can rise, okay? So that's all you need for the pizza dough. And when we get to the different meats, which obviously we have to cook them, the bacon, and I'm going to put some Italian sausage in it. I'm going to use just these big fat Italian sausages. I'm going to remove the casings. I'm going to just crumble that up in a pan. I'm going to cook up some bacon and chop it up. I'm going to do a little bit of ham. I'm also going to do up some 80-20 ground beef. And I'm going to saute a little onion that I'm going to chop up super fine so the kids don't really know they're in there. And some minced garlic, and I'm going to put a little basil and oregano in it after the onions cook for a couple minutes and the garlic cooks for 30 seconds, a minute, whatever, because you don't want it to burn and become bitter. Then we'll throw in our basil and our oregano, and then we'll get some pizza sauce and we'll get it all put together. Okay, that's all nice and frothy. It's been 5 minutes. Okay, I dumped in 2 tablespoons of the olive oil and 1 1/2 teaspoons of kosher salt. And then we're going to add in 3 1/2 cups of flour. Now, if you don't have a stand mixer, that's okay. You can do it by hand. I used to knead it by hand all the time, okay? And you want to mix that so it's all combined real well on low speed, and you want to use a dough hook, okay? Which, let me show you, looks like that, okay? And you want to put it on low for about 5 minutes. We'll let that go. Okay, now if it's really wet, looks really wet and super sticky, then you can add a little more flour. I ended up putting in about a 1/4 cup, 1/4 cup more flour. And then when it starts gathering up into a ball, it starts looking nice and smooth and still just a little bit sticky, then you know it's ready, okay? It's gonna look like that. Now, the last 2 tablespoons from the 4 tablespoons of the olive oil, we're gonna coat the bowl. I'm gonna coat it really good. Large bowl to set it in. Then take out your dough. Okay. And set it in your bowl. And then just take the rest of the olive oil and put over it and just rub it all around, cover the whole entire dough in the oil, okay? Flip it over. Just like that, okay? And then, turn my hands off here. We're going to cover it in plastic wrap. And then we're going to put a nice clean towel over it. And we're going to let that rise until it's double. Now what I mean by rise is, you see the size of it now. You want it to be at least twice that size. And then your dough will be ready, okay? Probably take a couple of hours. All right, so let's cover it in the plastic wrap. Nice and tight, just like that, and then just take a towel and cover it, okay? And then just let it set for a couple of hours. That's it. Okay, until doubles, we'll go to the next step. Okay, while the dough is rising, I'll tell you everything else that we're going to need. A lot of the grandkids and kids here don't like onions, so I can't saute up some onions and some olive oil. But if you do use fresh onions, you want to use an onion, chop it up and saute it in a frying pan, a little oil for a couple minutes, and then you're going to want to throw in a teaspoon of basil and a teaspoon of oregano, and you want to do up a couple tablespoons of garlic cloves. After you peel them, you want to mince them up really fine, and then cook that for about 30 seconds along with your herbs. And since I'm not using a fresh onion, I'm using some onion powder, about a teaspoon. Okay, and then after that's cooked up for a couple minutes, take it out of the pan, set it in a bowl, and then you want to start working on your meats, because I'm making a meat lover's pizza. So for the meat, I'm using a 1/2 pound of ground beef, which I'm gonna cook in a little bit of oil, and then I'm gonna make sure it's broken up really well so there's no lumps or anything, and then drain it out of the grease. And then I have about 8 slices. You can use whatever kind of ham you want. You want to use like 4 ounces of ham, because you got so many other meats going on it. And that's about 8 thin slices that I got just from the deli. It was like $7 a pound. All right, so about 4 ounces of that. And I have, I'm using this Black Label thick cut bacon. I used to always go with Armour, but this is excellent bacon. Okay, I'm going to use 6 slices of that, which is about a 1/2 pound. Okay, this thick. And then I've got 3 mild Italian sausages here. I'm going to slice it, and I'm going to take it out of the skin. I'm going to remove the casing, it's called. Okay, and then I'm going to crumble that up real fine, and then I'm going to fry that. And then when I cook my bacon, I'm going to chop it up. And the only thing I'm not going to obviously cook in the frying pan is the pepperoni. in my ham, but I am going to cut up the ham in small pieces. Then when we start throwing the pizzas together, I'll just throw it all on. Okay, but I just wanted to show you what you needed. And you're going to need about a cup of pizza sauce. Now, we're going to end up taking everything and splitting it in half. Half of the dried herbs, half of your meats, a half a cup of sauce, because we're going to be making 2 pizzas, all right? But you're going to need a cup total. And you're going to need a total of 2.5 cups of mozzarella cheese. Now, if you can get the nice fresh mozzarella, that's much better than the processed. But all I had was the packaged mozzarella cheese, okay? But you want 2.5 cups of that. And the same thing with your Parmesan cheese, okay? You're going to need a half a cup of that. And if you can get fresh and grate it yourself or shave it or however you like to do it, that's even better. All right, but remember, we're making 2 pizzas, so everything is going to half and half, so you have enough for both pizzas, okay? Let me get my meats all cooked up and everything else. Okay, the pizza dough is ready. Let's take off the plastic. And that's what it looks like. Okay, I'm just going to punch it down, deflate it. Okay, now you want to put a little flour on the counter. Okay. Just dump it right out onto that. All right. Now, I'm just going to make, instead of 2 small ones, I'm going to make a big one. And I'm just going to keep spreading it out with my hands, just like that. You could use a rolling pin. You could pick it up in the air. You know, you could go like this and work it. Let the excess weight just keep falling down. Okay, just keep stretching it out. Just keep working it. If you like it really thin, then just keep working it how you like it. And get whatever kind of pan you're using, whether it's pizza pan, a sheet baking pan, or whatever. One nice great big one instead. Because I got more dough ready. All right, that looks good. All right, now what you want to do is, whatever you're using though for a pan, you want to put cornmeal on it. Now if you have, say if you weren't doing it in the oven, and you were using a pizza oven, or you have one of them Unais ovens for outdoors, and you got a great big, what they call those shovels there, it's always good to put some cornmeal on it, and that way your pizza dough will slide. But I like to sprinkle some on my pan. I'm doing it in the oven like that. And I got my oven up as hot as it will go, which is only 500. And I'm going to cook it until it's done, which could be, I'll start checking it in about 10 minutes or so. Okay. Now if you wanted to, you could use mozzarella sticks and put along the edging, and then fold the top of the dough edging over and have a cheese crust. Okay, if you wanted to. Then you could cook a little bit of minced up garlic, melt some real unsalted butter with it, and brush that onto your crust. That's really good that way too. Italian seasoning would be good. All right. I was planning on doing 2 smaller ones, but I've got more pizza dough ready over there that I'm going to be doing some other kinds of pizza. Just to try different kinds for a change. A taco one, a Big Mac one. What else was I going to make? A white pizza with a garlic pizza sauce. Okay. All right. I like to fold my crust over a little bit, just like that, go around it. If I was going for perfect, then that'd be a different story, but I'm just doing a real fast, rustic one. And get her done. Okay. Now, I've got some pizza sauce that I had canned, but you can use whatever your favorite pizza sauce is. And like I said, if you wanted to put cheese on it, on the edge, and you could, just put it right along the edge like that, and just lift this up and fold it over, okay? All right. That looks good. Now, I could have gotten 2 smaller size pizza out of this if I rolled it really thin, 12 inches. But I'm just making a thicker, one big large one. All right, now we're gonna take some of my canned pizza sauce, put that right on it. And since I was gonna split this up into 2, I'm just gonna put as much sauce as you like on it. A lot of people don't like their pizza with a lot of sauce. Personally, I do. Some do, some don't. All right, so I have a cup of sauce total on this. All right. Now, let's put on our herbs, which is because remember I didn't cut up any onions to put on it. So I just got basil, oregano, and onion powder in here. We're gonna end up using a total of 1 teaspoon. Okay. Sprinkle that all over. Smells good. Okay. All right. Next, we're going to put on a mozzarella cheese. Remember, be preheating your oven now. I'd even go 550 if your oven will go up that high. I like a lot of cheese, so I'm going to end up using 2.5 cups on this one of the mozzarella. Okay, next, let's put the hamburger on. I got all my meats kind of mixed up in here. That's okay. And then your sausage. Make sure it's all split up good so everybody gets a little of everything. And your bacon. It's gonna be good, I know that. It's gonna be plenty of meat on it. That's why it's called Meat Lovers. Oh my goodness, that looks so good. Okay. Oops. Now, let's put on our ham. Gosh, it's making me hungry. It ain't even cooked yet. Okay, now let's do our pepperoni. I love pizza. There's so many different types of dough too that you can make. When I had an outdoor pizza oven, wood oven, I used to do the double O flour. That was really good. Okay, now our last thing we're going to use is Parmesan cheese. Oh, I got all the ham on there. Now some Parmesan cheese. Okay, now I think I'm going to melt a little bit of butter, a little bit of garlic powder, and I'm just going to brush the edges, and then we're going to bake it in the oven, and that's what it looks like, okay? Okay, I melted 1 stick of butter, and I put in 1 teaspoon of garlic powder. Okay, now we're just going to brush the edges. All right, and that's what it looks like. Now let's get it baked. Okay, everybody, 10 minutes later, and you can see it's fully cooked. All right, should let it set for a few minutes, but I'll go ahead and start cutting it up. So it is loaded with a lot of meat. Sophie, honey, can you hand me a small plate? Oh, there's some big slices.
Wrong one. I was going for a fork. Go, Grandma.
Oops, got a little speck here to cut. Thank you, babe. Wow. All right. Now do a bite into it. It's so hot. And that's what it looks like. It's gonna be hot.
Try to get a piece of pepperoni, Grandma.
That was good. Okay, everybody. Meat Lovers Pizza. Give it a try. It's really easy. Take care and God bless. Bye-bye.
Bye.